Well, Claus and I met several times, but on a special occasion last year in Havana. And among other things, if you may also tell us how the basic income was received in Cuba. Professor Claus, another of the 4 co-founders of Beyond It, is here.
Well, this is a long story, and in order to remain consistent, I think that we have to think of the liberation of the free time of our interpreters. And so I mean, maybe there is another opportunity to tell this story, which was in fact mind-opening, and of which Senator Suplicy was the main person. I was just a bystander. Two remarks. I think the problem of arguing for basic income, as set out by Philippe at the beginning, is not that difficult, and we can approach it in 2 ways. One way is to point out that there are 3 and only 3 yardsticks for the distribution of the goods and services that society produces. One is according to need. We cannot abandon this yardstick, but we should be aware that this yardstick of responding to need is always associated with a paternalistic assessment of need, and it is also associated with stigma and the denial of the dignity of the person whom we pretend to serve. So be careful and try to limit as much as possible the need yardstick. The second yardstick is desert, and that is mediated through contracts in labor markets and other markets. And the problem with this yardstick is that we never can tell to what extent desert is due to effort and ambition on the person, on the part of the person receiving a reward, and to what extent it is due to luck and favorable conditions. We cannot separate the two, and there have been strong and influential philosophical attempts to do so. It simply does not work. The two come always, luck and effort come as a mix, and sometimes luck alone, or as I put it before, opportunity, lucky opportunities determine the outcome. So this is also an unreliable kind of yardstick for distributing goods and rewards. So what remains is the third yardstick, which is much less suspicious, and that is the yardstick of entitlements, legal rights of citizens that are defined by a democratic legislature and provide certainty without undermining the dignity or without rewarding luck or lack of luck. That is, if you belong to the risk camp rather than the opportunity camp, as I pointed out before. So I think by this little thought experiment of exercise of subtraction, we can see of the three yardsticks, the last one, the one based on rights and entitlements, is least misleading, and therefore most to be preferred. This was one remark. The other remark is due to another thought experiment that I learned from Robert Reich. And that has to do with peace and conflict, namely with inner conflict. So persons in our society consist, in fact, they are a multiple self. They consist of 4 kinds of identities that are in conflict with each other. And these identities are the person as a worker, the person as a consumer, the person as an investor doing savings or taking out credit, and the person as a citizen. These 4 roles or partial identities are in conflict with each other in the way that the 3 economic roles, consumer, investor, wage earner, are in a majority over the 4th role, the citizen. We very often know what we would do if we were only citizens, but the identities of workers, investors, and consumers hinder us to do exactly what we would do as citizens. The 3 economic roles silence and kill the citizenship, can kill the citizenship element, and to rebalance that conflict and create a measure of inner peace. It might be a good idea to base some of the income not on wage, on which the majority of income will undoubtedly remain dependent, but on citizen rights. A citizen right to income that would, in a way, immunize the citizen against the selfish and short-sighted influences of the 3 other roles. And I think that leads also to an argument of strengthened citizenship over the worker identity, the consumer identity, and the investor identity. Thank you.
Well, in respect to our interpreters and translators, we will have to finish, but I would like to first say that it's very interesting that I have just now counted. There are almost as many women as men in our audience, but yes, that's why I would like to ask Lena Lavinas and Ingrid van Niekerk to come here and to close our 13th International Congress of Bien, because we men, we want to have the basic income and equal rights for all men and women. Please come here, Lena and Ingrid.